Beloved brothers and sisters, there is an idea from A Course in Miracles, which is very difficult for people to grasp and put into practice. It has to do with the idea that my vulnerability is my strength. That idea runs contrary to how the entire world is set up. Vulnerability seems like your ability to be wounded, to be hurt. How could that possibly be your strength? Well, consider a very young child. A very young child is completely vulnerable. And yet, Lao Tzu wrote very beautifully about the vulnerability of a young child. He said, left out in the woods, wild animals won't eat a newborn baby. Insects won't sting it. It can scream all day long and never get a sore throat. Its muscles are weak, but its grip is strong. And if you consider how people are around very young babies, there's this tremendous outpouring of care. Everyone wants to hold the baby. Everyone wants to comfort the baby. Everyone is trying to anticipate what the baby needs. Oh, I think she's hungry. Oh, I think he needs this. Here, can I hold him? And yet, that baby is completely vulnerable. It has no strength of its own. It can't care for itself. It can't change itself. It can't gather food. Can't do anything. And yet that is its strength, because that baby is pure love, as pure as you can get. And that's what brings forth the protection of those around it. As the baby grows, that vulnerability makes them susceptible to the unconscious acts of people who have been raised by unconscious people. And so inadvertently or on purpose, a lot of abuse takes place. Some of it physical, some of it sexual. But that very vulnerability and the willingness to love whoever is around you sometimes makes a very confusing conclusion. The confusion is, I love this caretaker. This caretaker is abusing me. Maybe that's what love is. Maybe love is letting people harm you. Maybe love is letting people sexually have their way with you. If the abuse is severe enough, the soul pulls away from the body a little bit to protect itself. It dissociates from the body. And often if the abuse is traumatic and sexual in nature, the personality splits. All of this is done for protection. So the very vulnerability that allowed love to come in becomes the opposite. That instead, people grow up to make themselves invulnerable. And they do this in a number of ways. Sometimes, if their body is under attack, at least in their experience, they grow armor. Maybe they become overweight so that no one will be attracted to them to abuse them. Maybe they become ill. But another thing happens when the soul dissociates is that for the first time you have access to spirit not connected to body. And this comes to serve you later in life. People with psychic abilities will often find that they had some kind of a trauma that they couldn't be with when they were younger. And it allowed them to slip away from their body and become familiar with another realm. And as the story continues, this wisdom from the other realm helps them to heal the body, to restore the body ultimately to a place where it can be healthy and fearless, where diseases can be shed and weight can be shed and health can return. It can only be done with love. Attempts to heal the body from the outside are temporary at best and won't work at all unless really combined with love. It's love that heals everything. It's love that restores you to your basic strength, which is your vulnerability, the willingness, like a baby, to accept all, to love all, to be present to all. So that ultimately we come full circle and we are restored to our vulnerable self with no defenses and no need for defenses. This is not easy to do alone, but as we say, you're never alone. Ask for help so that your vulnerability can be restored and your body can respond accordingly. I love you very much, and I honor your process. I'll speak with you again soon.